You have one unheard message. First unheard message sent yesterday at 7:15 p.m.
Hey, Ty, it's Rich from the auto auction. Hey, I'm feeling sort of nostalgic. You want to meet me at the gate?
I'm Rich Levene, and this is Meet Me at the Gate, where we're not just talking theory, we're tackling real-world problems head-on, driving solutions that supercharge productivity and team dynamics. Every episode is a journey towards improvement, empowering you, the manager, to lead with innovation and confidence. Join us to transform everyday roadblocks into highways for success.
Let's go down memory lane. What do you say?
I'm ready.
Let's go back to the 1990s.
90s. So what did you do in 90s? Graduated college?
Yeah. I did a lot of things we can't talk about on the podcast in the 90s. Right after college, I actually got a job working at World Foot Locker just to make ends meet. And then I had a recruiter hire me and suckered me into working for an auto lender. I started in December of 1994. And my job, the first job I had there was super boring. Do you remember technology called microfiche?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I even remember hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, we might have talked about it, I think, on the podcast with Tanya, because when I started there, I was reviewing microfiche for loans, and that worked my way up. I think my second or third job there was doing titles, and that's how I got introduced to remarketing. Remember, I think on that episode we were talking about I'd get a couple titles, and I found out they were repos, and I just got really curious about what they were doing. And then fast forward, I ended up moving out to Arizona. I'm working in Arizona, and then one day we'll start day one.
Whoa, wait. What did you get curious about? What were y'all curious about? Titles. Curious. What kind of curiosity? Now you got me curious what you're curious about.
I was just curious because, most of the titles I was sending were going to dealers because they were payoffs. Somebody would trade in their car. They would send us a payoff check to the auto, pay off the auto loan, and then we'd send them the title, and then they could go sell that car. But every once in a while, I'd look up in the system. It would have something flashing on the screen, and the car was repossessed. I had no idea what that was. I'd never seen anybody get a car repossessed. I'm like, what happens next? So I run the title down to the collections department and said, hey, I got a title for you. And after a while, just, curiosity killed the cat. I kept asking questions. What's this? What's this? Oh, we take them to auction. We sell them. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's as far as it went, seriously. And then lo and behold, I end up moving. They asked me if I want to relocate, and they gave me several cities. And Phoenix was not one of them, but I wanted to move to Phoenix because I had family there. And I had cousins there that were my age, and I also knew about Arizona State and Mill Avenue, and I knew they wore their bikinis down Mill Avenue in their rollerblades on their way to class. I'm like, I'm single. Sign me up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fast forward, I don't know, 6, 8, 9 months, I've been working in Phoenix, and we're growing, and our auto portfolio is getting bigger, and we're starting to get some repossessions. The branch manager comes out of his big plush office and says, hey, I need somebody to go down to Arizona Auto Auction. We got 6 cars. Push my chair back. I jump up. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I had no idea what I was doing. Get down to the auction, walk in the door, say, hey, I'm Rich. I'm here from the lender. I'm going to be on the block. Let's sell some cars. I acted like I knew what I was doing. I had no freaking clue. I just put on fake it till you make it. So I get up on the block. The first car comes across. Yeah. Bam, bam. I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I'm like, sell it. And they sell it. And the next one comes up. Same thing. Third one or fourth one comes up, and it's like, where's all the excitement? What's been there? Like, oh, the other side of the car's wrecked. I don't remember. I don't sell it. And what about the next one? I don't sell it. So I think I ended up selling 3 out of 6 or 4 out of 6. Drive back to the office, and the boss goes, how'd we do? I'm like, so I retell him that story. And he goes, so what are we going to do with these other 3? I said, well, I'm going to have to go back and sell them next week. So week 1 turned into week 2, 2 turns into 4, 4 turns into 8, 8 turns into a career. So that's how I got my start. As we were growing, we started this really weird program. And I don't even think it's legal right now anymore, especially with the CFPB. But we started a retail program, or that organization did, the higher-ups. When the cars would get repossessed, somebody would have to go through them and it'd say, this is a retail car, that's a wholesale car. And we'd take all the really nice cars and we'd recondition them. And then we would try to retail them for a stupid amount of money on basically, let's call it D paper. They're going to pay 120%, they get it down. Because basically we're doing our own type of buy here, pay here deal. And eventually it gets shut down. During that process, we had, I'm just a flunky, I'm just an hourly. And I was starting to work and I was going to the auction and they're like, hey, you can keep going to the auction, because the guy that was doing the retail, we hired him from retail space, hated auctions, wanted nothing to do with it. So I was taking the crappy cars to auction and I was having fun. I'm doing really well. Well, we start growing, we start getting bigger, and we started having inventories of 500-600 cars on the ground in Phoenix. Most of them, Jesus, right. Portfolio was huge.
At an auction?
No, we had them at probably 7 or 8 dealerships across Phoenix where we'd sign contracts. Some are franchise stores, some were used car stores, some are ones that we actually had on our own. We propped up a storefront. It kept fluctuating. It would be 7, it'd be 5, it'd be 4, it'd be 8, it'd be, whatever. It was all changing. It was all part of the game. The real story is they asked me to start doing the reconditioning to help out. That's where I kind of got my start. I was working, we had an agreement with a Larry H. Miller group, and they had a used car store. And that's all they did out of the store. It was an old Buick facility, if I remember correctly. But they didn't run the Buicks out of there anymore. They built a newer, better store. We were using that store, and they had a huge reconditioning facility in the back. And we would take all of our cars there, and that's where we did the sorting. That's where it started. We had an independent party come in, write a condition report on it. Based on that condition report, it was either going to retail or it was going to wholesale. Well, they asked me if I would help on the retail, getting them ready, retail reconditioning ready for front line. That's what I was doing. And then I'd ship them out to the dealership, and then we'd go out if it didn't sell in. It used to be 60 days, then they'd send them to auction, then it was 90 days, and it was 120 days. But during this time, the gentleman that they had running the retail program quit, got fired, I don't remember. He was no longer with the organization, and they couldn't find anybody to do it. So here I am, right? Got retail cars. I'm not a retail guy. I'm a wholesale car. I'm having fun at the wholesale side. All of a sudden, these cars are starting to get really old, and one of the VPs calls me up and said, hey, you've got to get rid of some of these cars. I said, I'm not a retail guy, because I don't care. Take them to the auction. So we take them to the auction. They're retail ready. Here comes the light bulb moment.
Oh, I got it. It's called pre-sale. They had a name for it.
Yeah, it's a pre-sale certification.
Yeah, I remember those.
Now, I don't know if we started this or not, but this is 1990. So what I told you 94. So now we're up to like 1997. There was a couple years in there. We blew through them really fast. It might even have been 96. But anyway, 96, 97, we're selling cars at auction that have been completely reconditioned. So we're taking these cars to auction, and a lot of them are retail ready, and we're running there. So we start doing a 7-day certification program. I'm pretty sure we were the first ones to do it. We came up, we had window stickers, we put flags on them, and they would come through, and those would kick off the link. Hey, the first 20 cars today are all 7-day green light guarantee. I remember standing on the block doing it, and the dealers went crazy. So we were doing the reconditioning work. We were guaranteeing them for 7 days. Then we got aggressive when we actually went to 14 days. So we had 14 days, 7 days. Sound familiar? Gold program, silver program. Guess what? We called those, it was our gold program and our silver program. I mean, NAAA ends up adopting it. I'm pretty sure we were the first ones to do it. And I was one of the first auctions to do it, and I was kicking butt and taking names. Where it was really interesting is we did the mechanical work on those. So the auction was the arbitrator. So this is a true sense of an arbitration. If a dealer kicked the car, it would go through the auction arbitration. If it failed arbitration, it came back on us. We guaranteed it. We did the work. That was the end of the story. Now you can ask questions. Where are we at today? How does certification work today? How does arbitration work? But that's the genesis of the certification program.
Right. So if I hear the story right, which tell me if I'm wrong, but you got a bunch of cars that are retail ready that aren't selling, and your inventory's too much, so we need to get rid of them. So we're going to take them to the auction, the retail ready to go. And before we did any guarantees, it was just retail ready. Did I hear that right?
Yep.
And what we learned was dealers, when they hear retail ready, somehow they get excited about it and they pay more money for it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
So these cars that were on retail lot that nobody was buying or nobody was selling, we'd send them into wholesale to the auction, and they bring what we want. Is that what I'm hearing? Or pretty close?
They were bringing more than we expected. Let's put it that way. They were bringing more than we expected at the wholesale level.
Okay. So,
I mean, I was a Kelly Blue Book state. I was in Arizona, and at that time it was Kelly Blue Book. I had the Kelly Blue Book, so I was bringing anywhere between 100 and probably around 115% of Kelly Blue Book wholesale.
geez.
Yeah, on those retail ready cars.
On the retail rate, so like, give me a ballpark average. How many did you run? How many did you? What percentage was your sale rate?
Wow, we were killing. We were selling over 90%. We would run 100 every other week, and it was at Greater Phoenix Auto Auction, out off of Van Buren and 83rd. It's now, I believe, it's called Anaheim Phoenix. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And we were selling cars. Doug Winiger was the general manager. Rest his soul. He passed away several years ago of cancer. He was the record holder for the most free throws made in the state of Indiana in high school career until Steve Alford broke his free throw throwing record. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I met some people. But anyway, so back to the cars. But yeah, we would run roughly 100 cars. Yeah. And we would kick off that lane. Here's how fast we grew. Remember how big Bank One used to be, and they ended up getting bought out by Chase? We would run ahead of Bank One. We were selling more cars for a higher rate than Bank One.
Take that, Bank One.
Yeah. But we would honestly, and we were selling 90%, and it was just knocking it off. Jimmy Radcliffe was my auctioneer. He sounded like Wolfman Jack, and the guy was incredible.
Okay, well, so this is early 2000s.
This is late 90s. This is still late 90s. They started piloting this in Phoenix with me because we didn't have a retail ready manager that could go out to the dealerships and push it. And I wasn't going to do it. I didn't want to do retail ready. I didn't know anything about retail. Well, lo and behold, it's taken off. And they're like, hey, Rich, we're going to have you go to Los Angeles. We're going to have you go to San Francisco. We're going to send you to Salt Lake City. We're going to send you to Portland, Oregon, Seattle. I was going all these places. And I implemented this program all across the West Coast. Everybody knew me as the flag and sticker guy because every car had to have a gold certified sticker on it. It had to have a window sticker that we checked everything off, just like it was retail. I mean, we took all those ideas from what you had to do at a retail lot to sell a car. We're like, hey, this is familiarity. This is marketing, branding. Next thing you know, people start copying.
I guess the next question would be, did you have the title?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, next question. Did you have the floor? You know what you want.
I floored them.
Okay.
I floored all the cars. And I can tell you what my formula was, too. I remember this.
Okay, give it to me.
So the formula was Blue Book, plus we got another one, and I forget what it was called. It came out of our system. And then I got my hands on Black Book. So I took Vintech.
NADA.
No, it was Black Book. So it was Vintech was the middle one. And it's I don't even know who owns it, never heard of it. So it was Blue Book, Vintech, and Black Book. I'd take those three, and I'd average them out. So let's say you had 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. Well, the average of that is 8,000. So this car's worth 8,000. Then what I'd do is I'd take the condition report that came over from the auction with the total amount of damage. And let's say they had $1,000 worth of damage on there. I always divided the total amount of damage on a CR from an auction in half because they always overrode them to protect their butt. So my floor was average is 8,000. And half of 1,000 was 5, so 8,000 minus 500, 7,500. That was my floor, and I would get within 99 to 100% every sale using that method. So somebody can steal that one. You can send me $100 later for it. But that's how I floored cars.
Right. So
that was before data was available, Ty. I mean, I built my own spreadsheets in Microsoft Excel 95. I'd spend hours at night sitting at my desk in my little apartment in Phoenix writing my own spreadsheets. Damn. Before you could even write formulas. You had to do it all by hand. You had to type everything in cell by cell.
Yeah. That was a while back, for sure. Okay, well, what I'm hearing also in this conversation, very clear, very loud, is what we call cat. I'm hearing a lot of cat. Meow. It's consistency. Going every other week. I heard it. Every other week, we're going to run 100 cars. So we got every other week, number one. Number of cars, number two. Stickers, flags, description, 3. Yep. Title, 4. Floor, 5.
Yep.
If I'm paying attention, I'm looking at a cat.
Yep.
Every week, every other week.
Yep.
So
I did 3 sales a week usually. I was flying all over.
Right, and I mean, this is kind of side talk, but I've been around enough, but usually when you come rolling into town, you're next to royalty, right? They're putting the red carpet. It's Rich is coming. Let's everybody give Rich a big round of applause.
Yeah, it was. But I didn't know it though. I mean, I look back on it and you're absolutely right. It was like that. They treated me like incredibly well.
Yeah.
But I would go in there and I'd work and people were like, you're going to go walk cars? Yeah, we're going to go walk cars. We're going to go floor these cars. I need to see them. I need to kick tires. I need to make sure the doors open, shut, everything. Basically, what I took it upon was the cat you're talking about. And that was, building that trust. I'm going to represent this car on the block and I need to know about it. Is it everything that you're telling me it is, Mr. Auction? And it wasn't so much for me. And I worked with the auctions. I never yelled at an auction. I never told them they were stupid or they're idiots or they couldn't get my cars online. They get frustrated sometimes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we'd always work together. So go back to the episode with Tori. I mean, what Tori was doing. I mean, I was doing that in the 90s.
Right. So the next part, so you walk into the auction. Everybody loves you. Everybody's happy to see you. You're royalty, your family. You're awesome. We love you. We love your business.
Yeah.
We love you. So the next thing that I'm going to guess or question you is you're on the block, same place every time, consistently every other week I'm here. Next thing you know, I'm going to take a stab as some dealers start making friends with you.
They tried. I wouldn't let them. They tried hard. I would not let dealers be my friend. I was scared to death that they were going to try to take advantage of me and pay me off. I always kept an auction employee between me and every dealer. I was scared. I was scared. Yes, dude, I was scared. I'm just being honest.
I can see where, I get it. I wouldn't have thought that actually, but I get it. So what I'm looking at is the reason I brought that up was because if a dealer can look at you across the lane and ask you with his lips, is this car okay? And you go,
oh yeah, I did that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I did that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't, they'd ask me to go out to dinner with them or go have beers with them or go, hey, we're going to Vegas. You want to go to Vegas? And you got to remember, I was West Coast. Yeah. And like going to Vegas was really easy because I was flying Southwest at the time. I had I could fly anywhere I wanted free because I had so many freaking miles built up on, or whatever it was, flight legs on Southwest back in the day. Mm-hmm. I went to Vegas probably 5-6 times a year because from Phoenix to Vegas, when I was living there and staying there as a bachelor, it was a 40-minute plane ride. I could get a hotel for $50. I mean, as a bachelor, I got no mortgage, no kids, no whatever. I just need beer and whatever else happens in Vegas. Bam, away I go. But what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Well, not if you're with car dealers, no.
That's why I never would meet them there. But hey, but for the sake of time, so let's put this to bed. So I was at the ground level of helping with certification, and now you know where certification goes. The auctions have to do it, and guess what? Auctions certify it, auctions arbitrate it, auctions. I don't think it's as fair as when we
time out. Sorry. Here's where I think there's been a change, because if I hear the story right, you as a commercial account, a commercial lender, whatever you call yourself, this company you're working for, you took it upon yourself to do your condition report, and your condition report was your own 7-day guarantee, 14 guarantee, right?
Yeah, we did the work. We did the labor. We did the repairs, everything.
So if we go to shift to today, somehow that's become the auction's responsibility. And it's also, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has the potential to create a lot of problems.
Yes.
So why? Go ahead.
That's another episode because we got a lot to cover. There's the cliffhanger.
All right.
So maybe let's get Matt Arias on one of these days because Matt Arias probably has no idea that was me doing the certification back.
I love Matt. I'd be happy.
Okay, so let's get Matt on. So Matt, come on, you got to be listening.
Matt,
all right, so let's fast forward. So that was the late 1990s, and then let's go to 2000. In 2000, Well, no, we're going to a whole different topic. I was on the seller side as a commercial lender. Now I'm on the auction side as an auction employee. And that actually happened. I got the job offer 2 weeks after I got married. I'm coming off my honeymoon, and I walk into to Golden Gate. It used to be the old ADT Golden Gate in Fremont off of 6700 Stevenson Boulevard. I still remember the address. And the gentleman that was in there was Kenny Osborne. And people listening to this podcast are probably going to know who Kenny Osborne is. He was a mentor. He hired me. He's like, hey, Rich, we just bought that auction in Phoenix and you'd be a great fleet lease manager. Like, yeah, I'm in Phoenix. I can't wait. He goes, but I want you to come to Golden Gate. I'm like, oh. Dang. So long story short, he pays me enough, gives me a great job, a great title. I was hired way over my capability, paid me way too much money, but I couldn't say no. So here I am now working at Golden Gate. Fast forward to later. And so he hires me. I start in February 2001. And let's fast forward. It was in the summer, I believe, of 2001. It's hot. I remember the day. And Kenny's, one of his favorite lines was, tell me a story. He'd walk in. Hey, Rich, tell me a story. I'm like, I got nothing. And he crossed his arms. You know that guy out there on the lot, the one that drives his motorhome on here every week? I said, yeah, you mean the third-party mechanic? He goes, yeah, that guy. I said, what about him? He's charging dealers $100 to inspect their cars after they sell. And then they arbitrate them. They send them back to the mechanic shop. I said, yeah, so it's like a great business model. He goes, guess what? Like, you want me to start that program here? Yeah, you're going to start a post-sale inspection program. So here I am. I don't know if we were the first auction, but 2001 summer, here I am trying to figure out how to build a post-sale inspection program at an auction. And Terry Cordova is still working at Dessa Golden Gate, so she's listening. Terry, back then her name was Terry Witham. This is going way back. I said, Terry, we got to figure this out. I don't know. I'm a young whippersnapper. I said, I can figure out the operations. Here's how we inspect it. Here's what we got to do. She goes, okay, I'll help you with the money side and how to collect it. And we'll get the front office to do, all that work. So we built this process, her and I, on getting a hold of the dealer, asking if they wanted a post-sale inspection, processing it through our system, having to create this. There were no menu options for this or nothing. This was all done by hand on spreadsheets. I saw your spreadsheets when you used to sell cars here. I know you can build a spreadsheet. So here I am building a spreadsheet. And we started doing post-sale inspections. But it took us, the first night, I think we got 3 cars. We started on our Thursday night. We used to run a Thursday night dealer consignment only sale. And we'd run 400, 500 cars every Thursday night. Yeah, exactly. Wow. That was the third sale of the week.
Oh
sometimes the fourth sale of the week. We ran a Tuesday regular sale, a Wednesday factory sale, a Thursday Highline sale, and then a Thursday night dealer consignment only.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, we were cranking some cars through a 6-lane auction with 6 satellite lots all over San Francisco. It was crazy. We're figuring out how to do this PSI thing. We get 3 cars. We're like, Kenny, this is the dumbest thing ever. We're never going to get this out. You're not quitting. Tell me a story. See, I don't know how many times he does that. So, and he would never let us give up. The next week, I think we got 4 cars. Then it was 4 cars. Then it was 1 car. Then it was 3 cars. Nobody trusted us. We were the auction. We didn't know what we were doing. But that third-party mechanic had it all, and he was going. He found out what we were doing, so he lowered his prices. He started competing with us. All of a sudden, one day, we probably got 20 cars. We're like, we're on to something. And as soon as we started getting, I don't remember the number, but it was quite a few. It was more than we were ready for. And we were there. And the night sale would get over at 9:30 at night. Now we have these PSIs that we weren't getting out of there till midnight.
Oh, yeah.
And then it took off. And then we were doing 100 a night.
Oh,
And then Kenny's like, well, now you need to do that on the Tuesday sale. So now here we go on the Tuesday sale. We started doing it on the Tuesday sale. The next thing you know, I created some goofy form in Excel because that's the only thing I knew how to make boxes. I didn't know how to use Word to make boxes and stuff, but I knew how to type in Excel. So it ended up coming out. The only way I could get it to fit was on a legal size piece of paper. So we ended up making this form. It was a 3-piece form. You got the white on top, the yellow in the middle, and the goldenrod on the bottom. Well, I stole pictures off the internet because, in 2001, you could steal pictures off the internet and not get in trouble. And I found an old picture of a frame. Lo and behold, the picture of the frame car that you always see on NAAA stuff.
Boom.
I found that on the internet back in 2001 and put it on the form. But anyway, so we've got this going. We've got this form. People hated it. It was legal size paper. It cost a lot of money to produce it. I said, guys, I can't shrink the pictures any smaller. They'll come out blurry. They were already blurry. We had all the part names listed. Like this is the rocker. This is the quarter. This is the A pillar, B pillar. I had all that stuff labeled on there and all this stuff. And people hated it. But lo and behold, it ended up all over. When I was working for the Big A, they had it all over. Every auction had it. So that transpired, right? So then guess what happened after PSIs?
PSI after PSI would be
pictures of frames.
Pictures of frames.
Of the frame of a unibody.
Yeah. I don't know what happened after PSI.
So, Kenny Osborne. Rich.
Tell me a story.
You know that old Buick out there that Dave M has? I said, yeah, Kenny, I know about that. Go see if he'll donate it to us. Like, why? What do we need this 1996 Buick LeSabre for? It's a unibody, Rich. I'm like, so you're gonna go get that from him, and you're gonna strip it down, and you're gonna paint it. So lo and behold, what do? We make the very first frame car. We took a 1996 Buick LeSabre, bought it up. This guy basically donated it to us. We stripped it down. Bob Cross was my operations guy. He was an incredible body tech. He did a lot of custom hot rods. He was very well known in California and the West Coast. Incredible. So we go out to the body shop, and we'd get the body shop. We tell those guys, hey, how fast can you strip everything off of this? And they thought it was a challenge. Next thing you know, we got this Buick LeSabre stripped down. Then we pulled all the seats out. We got everything off. We sold some of it. We threw away. Some of it we sold, for parts, whatever. Now we've got a shell of a car. We sandblasted it, painted it bright yellow, and then we built a rack on wheels that we could wheel it around. And we had ourselves a training car to go teach the CR riders how to identify frame damage on CRs, on cars.
On unibodies.
On unibodies. Yep.
Right. So unibodies, no frame, correct?
Yep, no frame. Airplane style.
Unibody, the biggest damage that I ever knew of was when the guy put his chain in the hole and ripped the aluminum, right?
Yep.
He put it in the wrong hole, and then that's all of a sudden frame damage on a unibody.
Yep.
Those were some good times. Okay, so you did that. You got unibody. So you get PSI.
So we did. So here's I covered. I helped. I don't know if I started this, but from my eyeballs, I did, because we didn't have the internet like we do now. We didn't have social media. I was like, here's what I saw.
Yeah.
I helped launch certification. I helped launch post-sale inspections, PSIs. Now I just built a frame car, and we started frame training. I was training dealers. We started inviting dealers in, and we'd help them. We'd train them. I was teaching dealers what frame damage was and how to identify frame damage on that yellow car. I had a 30-minute class that Kenny made me, create. And I had to, Kenny said, you're going to do this class, and then you're going to teach me. So he made me practice with him as the audience.
Yeah.
And he was a stickler. It was fun.
Yeah.
I learned so much.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, okay. So we went from pre-certification CAT, which can be used for an auction or a wholesaler or dealer, can pay attention to that. Then we went from pre-sale certification to PSI. Then we went from PSI to unibody frame damage.
Yes.
Then...
And these are things you see all over the auctions right now. Everybody's doing these things. Every auction's doing them.
Well, they are. And here's some interesting things for another conversation, but cliffhanger. Okay, you look at the latest trend, say in the last 5 years, which would be, say, an open lane, a backlot car, ACV, Mannheim Express, whatever these are, where you don't need to bring it to the auction. Now, when you do that and you leave it at the dealer, you got your photos, you're doing a live online auction, what kind of PSI do you get with that? And who does it?
You don't.
Right.
Depends on, unless the car is actually at the auction. If it was at the auction, you may get it.
You may get it. But again, so where I'm going with is, to me, the guys that want to come in and be the disruptors and, put the kibosh on the auction, you don't need to go to the auction. What I'm seeing in my neighborhood is the auction is gaining incredible traction, the physical auction. And you're starting to see, like, I go to smaller independent auctions, and you're starting to see one whole lane is red light, and 98% of everything sells. And unreal, dude. I'm not kidding you. And and then you start, or I do. Hey, you like coming to the auction? Oh, it's okay. Well, do you like it better than buying cars online? Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll come to an auction. Okay. And anyway, I think, I'm not trying to say anything, but I think now if I were an auction, I would start trying to pay attention on not how to capitalize financially, which I know is important. We all got to make money, but how to capitalize on relationships and how to serve the dealer better. And I think if maybe we focused on that versus let's do more profit, let's screw over our people, and sorry, buddy, you can't arbitrate that. You're stuck with the car. I mean, you hear these stories. I do. I hear. I mean, you're in an auction. You may not hear them because you're running the show, but it just seems really weird to me. So, boo! I got it.
Love the dealer.
I wore this today at the auction. I got a lot of looks too.
Did they ask any questions? What's that?
No, it's just funny because you see them looking. They're like, man, nobody says that.
Well,
Dude,
it's you got to kind of leave it. But you know what you just finished with there, and we've talked about on this show a ton, is you got to put people before your plans, productions, and profits. Yeah.
Yeah. There's four P's.
Yeah. And why am I missing one? Performance. Plans, performance.
Procedures.
Products, yeah,
plan.
And profits.
Well, I think it's educational, and I appreciate every time hearing your stories, and what you've done has always encouraged me. You've got a lot of years in this business industry, so thank you. Thank you for education.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Meet Me at the Gate. I hope the conversation has helped to fuel your drive and equip you with insights to steer your team towards success. Remember, the road to success is always under construction. And until next time, keep your engines revving and your gas tanks full.